I personally haven't spent very much time at all in games like COD Zombies or Killing Floor, but Hellbreach Vegas popped up on my Steam homepage, and upon noticing that it had just released out of early access on August 14th, I was pretty interested to see what it had to offer, so I asked for a review key, and well, here we are. Hellbreach Vegas is a wave-based demon shooter created by one single developer, and honestly, I gotta give them massive props, because taking that into consideration, this game is above and beyond anything I would expect from an entire indie team. That being said, the game is not without its flaws, and I'm absolutely not going to sugarcoat anything in this review, because if the developer thought it was good enough to release, I'm going to review the game exactly as it is without any sort of influence clouding my judgment. When it comes to gameplay, you have 7 different maps to choose from, as well as 5 game modes. Maps are all designed very well, with each one containing tons of different doors to open and rooms to explore. In order to open doors, you first need to obtain skull chips, which can either drop from the last enemy you kill on every round or very rarely from demons. Then you can spend 1 chip to open a door. These skull chips are also used as XP for your character's level, as well as currency to purchase cosmetic and loadout upgrades. Speaking of which, there's a ton of cosmetic options to choose from, like gun skins, character skins, and apparel options, but just a heads up, according to the Steam page, these stickers and skins are AI generated. Back to gameplay, opening up these rooms gives you access to basic weapons like the SMG and AK-47, and tons of perks which you can buy with cash, such as increased damage, increased reload speed and extra life, etc., as well as slot machines that you can gamble on to potentially gain skull chips, money, bonus damage, and special weapons. The whole slot machine thing really doesn't feel like anything more than just a cheap gimmick, as it's basically just glorified RNG, but I do enjoy it because it plays into the Vegas aspect of the game and does its job to separate it from the competition, albeit in a rather negligible way. Overall, every map feels rather unique in its own way, and they all offer you different gameplay experiences due to differing layouts. I do, however, wish that they were simply bigger. You pretty much unlock the entire map within a couple of minutes, and before you know it, you're just running in circles. Moving on to game modes, this game takes a rather interesting approach by not only offering you the generic round-based survival option that's very typical of this genre, but also offering several other game modes that are surprisingly enjoyable. Most game modes will let you play either 10 rounds, 15 rounds, or infinite rounds, and you can choose easy, normal, or hard difficulty. Aside from survival mode, you also get trapped, which throws everything you need to succeed in one single room and makes you survive solely in that room. Royale opens all the doors on the map and slowly closes you in with a circle that gets smaller every round and damages you if you go outside of it. Nightmare limits your visibility, disables all HUD elements, only allows usage of floor-bought weapons, and massively increases spawn rates and enemy damage. Finally, Gun Pro gives you a random gun and tasks you with killing 15 enemies, where you'll then be given a new gun, and this goes on until you either die or go through every single gun. Speaking of guns, there's a pretty nice variety to choose from. There's 20 in total, with some examples being the minigun, Hellraiser, plasma gun, laser gun, and Desert Eagle. In terms of how the game actually feels to play, it's a really mixed bag. I will say that movement feels super fluid, and the game even allows you to slide, but jumping is really strange because it kind of feels like someone is picking you up and putting you down rather than your character physically jumping. Gunplay feels very satisfying, but ADS is completely irrelevant, as hip firing is pretty much pinpoint accurate even when you're standing up and moving, so using sights or crouching for more accuracy is completely useless. And overall, the game in general just feels way too easy. Even on the hard difficulty, your health constantly regenerates from the second you start a match with absolutely no delay. So some enemies literally can't do enough damage to kill you before you start to regenerate health. There definitely needs to be either some sort of delay between getting hit and regenerating health, or simply just make health regenerate way slower. On top of this, there's several perks that buff you tremendously, with one of them being a perk that increases your health regeneration even higher than it already is, one of them buffing your damage and another increasing your stamina recovery rate. Perks are incredibly cheap, which means that you can easily buy every single one of them within 5 rounds, completely nullifying any semblance of difficulty the game may have had. Also, enemies just don't pose much of a threat. Like I said before, they hardly do any damage to begin with, and they're also very slow. Don't take much effort to kill, even with starter weapons, because every single demon is just a bullet sponge, and they can all be easily outmaneuvered because of how fast player movement is. On a more positive note though, the portals that demons spawn from can be destroyed temporarily, which I think is a really neat little mechanic that I can see getting some use in very niche situations. The optimization is incredible, and the game supports multiplayer for up to 4 players. Overall, Hellbreach Vegas is an incredible accomplishment for a one-man dev team. It has a shocking amount of variety when it comes to game modes, maps, and weapons, but lacks a lot in polish. As much as I enjoyed my time with this game, the truth is that it just doesn't offer anything over COD Zombies or Killing Floor. I think that it needs to lean more into the gambling and demonic aspects of the game to create a unique experience that separates it from the rest of the competition. Thanks for watching, goodbye.